All right, welcome to another episode of Commerce Corner. We'll be talking about some exciting announcements and releases from Lula, as well as some observations, what we're seeing in the industry with several events we've been to and whatnot this year. So welcome Adit Gupta, our CEO and co-founder. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Justin. What an exciting episode. So much to share today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So it's been a pretty exciting year already. You know, we had the opportunity to go to CRU, Connexus, C-Store Connections, nothing like in-person meetings with our partners and retailers. And we've kind of heard a lot about several topics. So why don't you start? What's top of mind that you're hearing?
Top of mind, I mean, there's a couple. Top of mind is the operational expense to keep a retail store running. Prices are going up, profit per item is going down, overall in-store sales are going down. There's a lot of problems to fix here, but I would say top of mind is like how much it's costing to build a really good brand, not only from a human perspective, but also from a services and products perspective. And so that's what we've been hearing from across the country.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about maximizing your productivity per square foot. We had some great speakers at Connexus, a lot of good substance at CRU. We've got C-Store Tech and Retail Media Network coming up. So, in terms of different initiatives, obviously digital is near and dear to our heart, but it is also a particularly big and impactful way for increasing that revenue per square foot. But as you say, it doesn't come without its costs.
Yeah, and like you say it best, Justin, digital is a game of inches. You have to understand how to evaluate your digital experience independently, not as a part of your entire retail P&L. And so as you think about running a really impressive digital or loyalty program, you might take out all of the things needed to run it from a people standpoint, from a secondary products standpoint. Meaning, if you're running a 10, 20, $50 million delivery business per year, but you're using 15 people, three other tools, different aggregators, all that cost adds up. And so what we've been hearing is how do we evaluate that? How do we know that we're profitable? And this game of inches, we're actually winning it versus not profitable. So this is just always top of mind.
Yeah, there's a number of little things that kind of hit at the cost side of things. So the delivery service providers can appease customers by giving some dollars back. And a lot of folks don't know that there's a whole, dispute process if you disagree with that. That's some of the learnings we've had over the years. And certainly our retailers who joined with Lula and said, oh, I didn't even realize all of these things, like we had to do all of these things. You think about kind of responsiveness, minutes matter in terms of responding to orders, order cancellations, menu updates, out of stocks. I mean, you could spend in some cases all day with all the little things that are necessary to run a top-notch program. And in reality, nobody has that time in light of all the other challenges that you've talked about.
Yeah, and those are really good examples of challenges. Like directly think about Wawa. They have a phenomenal digital commerce experience. And I call them out only because in New Jersey, I would live across 10 Wawa locations, and I grew up eating Wawa. And recently I learned about what it took to actually build that delightful experience. And it's a team of 5 strategists. It's a team of multiple engineers building that in-store kiosk, their direct ordering app, how they show up on digital marketplaces. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a multi-million-dollar OpEx operation, but the outcome over 10 years is something of like 10x multiple on that.
Right. And for a really large retailer, some of those investments may certainly be worth it. But I guess what we see in the kind of the majority of the middle and certainly all the way at the tail of the market is we just don't have that level of resources and that level of investment, which has led us to a lot of these learnings and kind of to some of the excitement that you're announcing today, right?
Oh yeah. As you said, most of these brands don't have those tools or expertise in-house. And we wanted to find a way to democratize that to every retail brand. And so that's why we're launching Lula Operators. It's this industry's first marketplace of AI agents and agentic workflows that help you gain not only the tools, but the expertise to execute on digital online. And so some of the problem sets that you said, Justin, around making sure you're getting refunds back or making sure you're replying to customer reviews, no matter if they're positive or negative. And then not only applying, replying to reviews, but applying some kind of a promotion to encourage reorder. Other problem sets like making sure you stay online, such a basic thing, but when you're a multi-hundred site operator, you don't know of the 3,600 minutes, how many of them are online. And what ends up happening is you're offline for maybe several hours a day and you lose sales. So just staying online increases revenue, increases respectability on the marketplace algorithms. And then there's dozens of problem sets that category managers, that marketers, that retail executives face. And you either hire full time for this or you use Lula operators. And we see a world where that second thing really becomes prominent.
Yeah, and this is of course something we've been testing in the background for a number of our retail partners for several months now, and obviously it's ready for prime time here. But I was just looking at some of the data, the AI agents that are taking care of inactive orders, over 12,000 calls. And so I think of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's 12,000 instances where an order might have gone unnoticed, at least for too long for what a customer might be patient for. And we see those as kind of inactive cancellations in our data, right?
Mhm.
That's the way to think about that.
Yeah, that's the way to think about it. Or you can think about it 12,000 coaching opportunities. It's your head of marketing or your head of ops kind of looking at this 1 month later and seeing, why did orders plummet? Why didn't we get orders from this store? And it's because there's some operational anomaly that you could have caught in the moment, which most never end up doing.
Right. And some of this I kind of laugh at myself because it's like you're using AI for some of this stuff and it's not the sexiest of a problem. The one that comes to mind is the low battery. Our data, again, the dashboard I was looking at, over 15,400 calls about tablets whose batteries have dropped below 15%. Now, not all of those would have gone offline, but certainly, a lot of them would. And before, we put in place this operators, we were either making staffed calls or the tablets were just going offline, and we were losing orders. Our partners were losing orders, and therefore that game of inches is getting lost because you lose a few orders a day in a business where you're getting single digit orders a day. That can have a major impact.
Totally. I mean, the best way to think about it is from a graphical perspective. You have an x-axis that's complexity of task, you have a y-axis that's business criticality, and there's dozens of tasks that are not very complex. You could train someone, pay someone to do it, but they're absolutely critical for your business to survive and eventually thrive. And so I think that's the best implementation and use case of AI in this really important industry. Take everything that's really easy to do but is super vital to make things run right and figure out a way to help automate or improve it. So that's what we're aiming to do with operators.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these conferences, we hear kind of these grand questions around how is AI impacting you? What are your plans for AI? And I think, just like anything so trendy like that, a lot of retailers kind of get worn out. But I think what I love about what we've done is we've kind of taken this view of like, okay, I'm sure there's some really, truly amazing, fantastic, sexy things you can do with it, but there's a bunch of problems in this game of inches that need to be taken care of. And we've kind of knocked those out for the first round of operators.
Yeah. And I think as we'll see later this year, we'll be at NACS SOI and we'll be at other venues. I think we'll continue to see this trend of OpEx costs increase and being able to not, the answer is let's stop doing this work. That's not the right answer. I think the answer is let's figure out a way to make this work cheaper, make it faster and better. And my prediction is I think more and more brands will figure out ways to help retailers to get to that goal.
Yeah, that's great. Well, as you know, we've put out a profitability guide. Everybody, you can grab that at lulacommerce.com, or we'll put a link here in the description of this episode. Other than that, we've got some more exciting stuff in the works that we'll tell you about down the road. But I wanted to cover one more thing, which I promised recently in an email audit, and that is where the name Lula came from.
Oh
So, can
yeah,
we
we
talk
have a
about that
story.
story real quick?
Sure. It's, COVID time, helping my family's retail convenience store. Co-founder Tom and I are on the computer virtually because seeing other humans in person was something you didn't do during COVID time. And fun fact: when we started this project, we just called it drinksandchips.com, and that's because we have stores have drinks, they have chips. We got to get it to people at home. Um, Lion King. Tom and I were watching that, and the new one had just come out with our families, and so uh, in Lion King, the specific language similar to Swahili, the Zulu, Lula actually means convenience. And as soon as we learned that, we were just blown away. We loved that name. We loved the story. We loved how kind and friendly it is. And it just describes the vibe of like what we were building. And so immediately we looked lula.com, luladelivery.com, Lula Commerce. We bought it, and we knew that was the name.
That's awesome. Well, great story. And again, get our profitability guide at lulacommerce.com. Check it out in the links. And we've got much more for you to come this year in 2025. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Justin.